Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the podcast. We're continuing in our series of the things that we don't talk about. We're going to talk about it. Well, today's about a big one, and I have been guilty of this big time. I think many of you have, and we're going to talk about money. Money issues in relationships, and this is an issue that I know we don't talk about enough in our relationships, in our marriages. We are comfortable with, and we can talk about sex, but we're not talking about money. It's such an intimate topic, such an intimate conversation to have with someone. And so we avoid it.
Yeah, and there's so many ways you can go with talking about money. Some of it's easy. Some of it's like, whoa. Like you just, for some reason, we steer clear.
I have been guilty of this. And I remember when I was probably, it must have been in the 80s. I was young. And I remember my dad, who old school, didn't talk about money, didn't talk with us kids about money. I should speak for myself, didn't speak with me about money or budgeting, even when I remember in high school wanting to ask him, and he'd say, "Oh, that's none of your business. Don't worry about it." And I was like, okay, well, I was supposed to talk to you about it because it was a homework assignment from one of my classes in high school. And my dad just shut it down. Very old school. I'm the breadwinner. Don't you worry. Well, that didn't do me any good years and years later when it came to budgeting because I didn't know how to do it. I didn't even know how to balance a checkbook or write a check, and he had to teach me before I went off to college. Yeah, I remember him sitting down and teaching me, this is how you write a check. Yeah, it was very minimal. The one thing he did say was, which was interesting, he must have listened to it on NPR or something, driving home from work. The number one cause of divorce is finances. He would say, it's not sex, it's finances. And I was like, okay, I never forgot that. And then years later, I was like, well, Dad, why don't you help me with finances and talk to me about it? Because I wasn't learning it anywhere else. But it is true today. It is the number one cause of divorce is fights about money. And this episode is called Hidden Regrets and Hidden Monies for a reason. We have regrets about money, and we hide money and we don't talk about it.
Does the research support the fact that we don't agree on certain strategies for either investing or purchasing, or is it that there's mystery? Is it more the mystery of so-and-so is doing something that they're not sharing with the other person?
It's the latter. I think if we were having conversations about where to put money, that would be wonderful. This probably wouldn't be an episode. We're not doing that. Okay, so before we get into the meat of the episode, please come talk to me. So if you're interested in coaching, reach out to me, hello@annamarcolin.com. Let's get on a call together and let's see if the two of us would be a good fit for each other, and let's work together. Okay, so please don't hesitate. Don't be afraid. Don't be nervous. If you need help with an area of your life that you are struggling with and you just can't figure it out by yourself, I'm your girl. Okay, reach out to me. Don't hesitate. And you're getting me, okay? Because a lot of times I think we reach out to these hosts on podcasts and these certain names and people that we follow and listen to. We think, well, I'm not going to get to him or her. I'm going to get to their assistant, or it's going to go into spam and it'll never get to them. So why even try? Don't think that way. I'm getting them, okay?
Because probably that's true most of the time.
It is true for the really big name podcasts. I know, because it's hard for me to get them on my podcast. It's like going down this huge cavernous hole. You can't reach these people. That's not me. Okay. You can reach me. And this is if you want to be a client and you want coaching. Okay. If you are here to pitch a client, if you are a podcast promoter or a public relations person, you want to pitch somebody to come on my podcast, then you need to email Blake@annamarcolin.com. Blake, that's my admin. That's my assistant. You'll go through Blake. But if you want to work with me as your coach, and in Illinois, if you want me as your therapist, hello@annamarcolin.com. That's for clients only. Okay. But don't hesitate. I'm here. Be happy to work with you. I've been doing this for 3 decades. Most of you know this. I'm the real deal. I'll help you improve your life. So have you ever, and I've done this, have you ever went shopping and not taken the shopping bags out of the trunk of the car because you didn't want your partner to see all the money that you just spent and all the clothes and shoes you just bought? That's me. I've done that. I did that in my first marriage. I did it quite a bit.
I've done it at Christmas, but that's intentional.
But that's different, right? Or you open up your credit card and you see that you purchased something, $475 credit card bill, and you're like, shoot, I hope my spouse, my partner doesn't see this. Oh geez. I just hope that they don't look at the bill this month. Not $475, but I've done that too in my first marriage. I did a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And why is it that we're doing it? You just pray that, oh my gosh, they don't see it. Or let's say when you started another job and you just want to swipe left on your memory that you were offered this IRA that you never opened when your job was offering you a match. And you have a regret about that, that you never did it. I hear that too. These are regrets of things I didn't do that I ought to have done that were wise and smart financial decisions for me. And for some reason, I just didn't do it back then. That's a big one. Your inaction.
So you actively chose to say no.
Or you forgot about it, or I'll get to it tomorrow, or I'll get to it next week. And then we don't do it.
Yeah.
And the match is gone. And we're lying awake at night, going over the regrets of our lives. And we can go down a rabbit hole with money. And one of them is, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? It's very stressful. Okay. So we're going to get into a little bit of the stats on this because I think this is so interesting. And I always want to do research when I do these episodes with all of you. So 2 in 5 Americans in relationships have kept a financial secret from each other, a hidden debt, a hidden credit card, or a stash account. I know this to be true because I hear about this in my office. 45% of people say financial infidelity feels as bad or worse than physical cheating. There's a study done by Bankrate. 45%, almost half, say it's just as bad or almost worse than a physical infidelity. And Gen Zers, you all lead the pack on this. 39% of financial infidelity victims are 20-something partners. That's from U.S. News.
Explain that one.
Yeah, Gen Zs. I don't know if it's changed, but there's a desire, there's a want for things. Okay. Buy this, buy that. And there's a new trend going on TikTok right now where people are saying the crap you don't need. And I think it's helpful. I'm glad there are creators really out there who are doing this. They're saying you don't need that extra pair of pants. You don't need that extra gadget for your house. You don't need that extra cleaning tool, people, because there's so much of that on TikTok right now, especially. And there are other people who are going against it. Like, you don't need that. You don't need to be doing that. You don't need that. It's true. It's a wants versus needs.
That's interesting.
Well, what is it all about? Why was it that I was shopping back in the day and then I didn't want my husband to see all the things I bought? Because I didn't want to face deep down the consequences of spending money that we didn't have. But in the moment, it felt good. It was a dopamine hit. It felt good to go shopping and to try an outfit or a suit or a dress or a skirt or buy a pair of shoes. I love shoes. And hey, these look good on me. It feels good. I look nice in these. That is soothing to me. So I bought it, and it felt good to have my hand full of bags of things that I had bought. It was doing something for me. It was a self-soothing mechanism that I was using to put a salve on something that was hurting. And I never really, until my life blew up, I never really looked at what was the salve was on top of what. There's a wound there. What's hurting? What's bothering you? There was a stress in my marriage that I was not paying attention to. So I covered it up with the salve of shopping. So for many people, it might be alcohol, it may be drinking, it's overindulging. For many people, it's food, overeating, over binging on food or alcohol. For some people, it's porn. For some people, you name it. It could be anything, right? For me at that time, it was shopping, over shopping. And I remember, I think my dad made a comment to me, and I remember my husband at the time would say, you need to go to Shopper Stoppers, which I would laugh. We would chuckle about it.
Shopper Stoppers.
Because it was a support group. It was a support group in the hospital I worked at. And I used to work, it was a back hallway in the hospital that I worked at in the city in Chicago. Yeah. And it was their meeting room, and it was a back way. The hospital was huge. Yeah. And it was a quick way for me to get from the ICU, the medical floor, over to maternal and child health. Okay. And I'd go through the back hallways that only the staff knew about. And there was this dark hallway, and it was over by the optometry people. And it was a big sign. It's Shopper Stopper support group. And I used to chuckle to myself. I'd walk by there, go, maybe I should go in there sometime. Maybe I should go to that group.
Think about what you just said. Just the fact that it's like underground to go to the support group is a problem.
No, it was like on the third or fourth floor, but it was not a regular medical
It's
floor where
behind the
patients and
curtain.
patients' families would
Yeah,
go. It
you
was
gotta sneak to get into the shopper
because it's
stopper.
embarrassing. They wanted to keep it on the down low, keep it
That's
private.
part of the problem.
Yes, it's embarrassing to go to a shopper stopper support group.
Wow.
Yeah, you have a point there. I never thought
That
about it like
seems
that. I never thought of
absurd.
that. But in all seriousness, people feel shame about it. And so
I
you
understand.
probably go to the main hallway, then you take a right, that dark hallway there, you take a right and you walk down there and there's the sign. I thought the sign was really big. I'm like, okay, that's a big sign for people coming to the support group. Maybe when I make that smaller, I don't know, take it down. Have the moderator stand there in the doorway and be like, hey, you here for the group? Like, yeah, I'm here for the group. I don't know. I just thought the big shopper stopper support group on the door was
Yeah.
I did used to chuckle. So I told my dad and I told my husband, there's a shopper stopper support group. Well, that was the worst thing I could have told them because they would joke. But the truth is often said in jest, in that my husband would say, you should go to shopper stoppers. And we would laugh about it, but he meant something.
Yeah.
He meant you need to chill. He was being kind and probably didn't have the words, or we weren't dealing with the very serious undercurrent in our marriage at the time, one of them being finances. Mea culpa, my bad on this too. I'm taking responsibility. I'm fully responsible for all the things that I did. And I learned to do different. I learned to do different. You and I do it different.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I don't go and shop and shop and shop. And then, well, I will, but it's not as irresponsibly as I did then. And I don't hide it from you.
Yeah. And I also think it's a product of being when we are, right? Because like a lot of places, it's not convenient to go try stuff on. So you bring stuff into the house, you get to ship it back for free.
Well, that's evolved as the years have gone by.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to, that's COVID. Even before that, though, I would do free shipping and then I would do right, because the stores are here. So, like Anthropologie or Banana Republic, I would just take it back myself. But more than that, Tim, I think I've worked through a lot of the reasons. Like I said, that was a salve for a bigger problem in the marriage at the time.
Yeah.
I don't have those issues are different. You and I have different issues, but I don't have those issues in this marriage.
Right.
They were different because I don't think I've ever, other than at Christmas time with kids with Christmas shopping, I've never done that, which is saying something, right?
Totally.
I mean, I've had to deal with it.
Yeah.
So Gen Zers, you guys all lead the pack in financial fidelity.
Do you think it's an influencer that you've got somebody in their 20s who's just gotten out of their single life, where they control all things? Now they're married, they've come together, they have a partner, and they're not quite used to that change yet. Is that possible? Is that part of what this is?
I think it's for many people, whether it be you've moved back home to live with your parents for a bit, or maybe let's not assume people are all going to college either. I mean, I think there's something about the 20s and growing up, and you just have attained this sense of independence for yourself. You have a job. I'm assuming people have jobs. There's so much out there. We talk about shiny ball syndrome with attention deficit, like, oh, there's this and there's that. There's so much out there in the world today that's saying, buy me, buy me. This is alluring. This is attractive. This will make me feel better. It's one touch. It's the digital age we live in with our phones. It's just, okay, social media, the phone makes it very easy for you to click put in cart, shopping cart. Oh, look at my shopping cart. And then just put your credit card information in. They have your credit card information, and then buy now. And there you go. Add to cart, add to cart. It's easy. Yeah, it's still there. It stays there. Yeah. I mean, you go back to it. It's still, it's still in the cart. I would do that for the immediate hit. And what I learned to do was it did something for me. And I've done this in the past even few years. I would put a big purchase in the shopping cart. Deep down inside, I knew I wasn't going to buy it because I'd done my work on this. I wasn't going to buy it. There's something to saying add to cart. And then I would leave it there and get off the computer and go make dinner or go watch a show or go work out. And it made me feel good to know that it was in there, knowing I knew it was a game I played with myself. It's like I got the dopamine hit I wanted, but I knew that a day later I was going to empty the cart. I wasn't going to buy it. It was interesting is that these companies know that we're doing this because then you get an email or you get a text saying we're offering you 20% off that item that you were looking at. We saw you
forget an item in your cart.
Now you get 20% off. And I rarely did that. I don't know if I've actually ever done that. There was something about me adding it to cart that soothed me in a different way than it was 25 years ago for the reasons of my first marriage. Now it's just, I'm just a victim of online shopping. A neuroscientist could explain this better than me. There's something about the process of saying add to cart and me feeling like I have a shopping cart full of all the shoes and all the clothes, because that's usually what it is for me. It's not kitchen gadgets. It's not furniture. That's what it is for me. And then not buying it made me feel good. I could walk away. I'd be up in my bedroom. I'd be like, look at all the stuff you do have. And this is what I do. Like, look at what you do have. Oh, Anna, you do have that color shoes. You have those heels. You have wedges. They're not blue. They're like a cream, but they would match all the things you do have. And that's what I do. And that really, really very helpful for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. All right, let's go on. So why do we do this? Why do we all do this, people? Why are we all doing, I'm including myself in this. Tim, include yourself because you've done this before too. I think that you have.
Okay. Conclude yourself.
I'm going to include you. So why do we do
Not
this?
The shoes, though.
Not the shoes, but you go crazy about other things. Photography stuff? You buy that stuff like it. I'm like, what are you buying? Okay, so why do we do it? Number one is fear of judgment. And this is when we hide purchases, we hide things, because the fear of judgment that I have felt this way. Like, you're going to think I'm irresponsible. You know, I'm a successful person to have this job. I pay rent. I'm responsible in so many areas of my life. I pay my utilities. I pay my bills. But then I have this little side credit card that I'm racking up all kinds of debt on. And I've got all the shoes and all the colors. And you're wondering where those shoes are coming from. But you're probably thinking, well, she's got the money to afford it. And maybe you don't want to micromanage me. And so you're not going to like going line item by line item because, you know, we're 28 years old or 38 or 48 or 58 or 68. I'm not going to micromanage you. And I don't want to tell you because you're going to think I'm totally irresponsible. And we really are afraid of the judgment. That's why I think we do it. Another one, and I see this with people who have secret accounts. They open up secret savings or checking accounts, or they have a secret credit card. It's a desire for autonomy. That's a bigger one. It's more underground, psychologically underground. We have desire for autonomy from our partner. And I see this in relationships. So that's a deep dive, and that's something to unpack, is what is this about that you want this desire for autonomy? And it's absolutely conversationable. I just made that term up. It's conversationable. Yeah. You can have that conversation with your partner. If you're in pretty much a loving, trusting, safe relationship, figure out, talk about, why do you want that autonomy? Because your partner may have no idea that this is something that's inside of you. Okay, well, you can have that. You can have your autonomy. Right. We got to talk about the finances, but go ahead and do that. That's fine.
If it starts to spill over and becomes a problem in other areas, or it becomes a bigger financial problem, then you're like, oh boy, that's affecting our monthly situation to pay our actual bills.
The caveat being that I do know people who have secret accounts who are in a domestic violence situation. That's the caveat here. It's a very different situation. You need to have a secret account. I encourage you, and I talk to my clients. This is more in the past. I don't do this work as much today. And I won't give away the secrets, and I will gatekeep it on this podcast because there are certain things I think that abusers, we don't want you to know about how we help in the past. I would help my clients get out of a situation. And so one of those is you have a secret account, but I won't go into the details of how you go about doing that. But for the most part, other than situations where there's abuse or violence or a terrible, terrible situation that you need to leave, why are you doing it? Why do you need to keep that a secret? Right. Maybe secrets is something that you're used to. Maybe secrets is something that you saw growing up. You saw your mom do it. You saw your aunt do it. You saw grandma do it. You saw auntie do it. That's just how it is. Maybe that's just women do in the family. I would be very curious to understand for you why you do that. And I hope that you can have some curiosity around yourself as to why you do that. Why do you have a secret accounts? What is it that drives that? You might need to unpack that a little bit as to where that comes from. Yeah. There can be generational secrets here when it comes to money.
Yeah. You're like making me think now. So I think back when I was little, and my dad would have this jar of loose change, but it wasn't like it was sitting on the dresser. It was like tucked. It was either like under the bed or like you had to go searching for it. And because I was a kid, like I knew, not that I was like needing to see it or wanting to take it. It was just the mystery of the whole thing. And then I started saving because my parents encouraged savings when I was little. Oh yeah, keep your change, put a quarter. I don't know if you remember these things, but they were like these little, it was almost like a little mini notebook, and you'd open it up and there'd be like these little slots. They were very encouraging to me and my sister to get that. Like, we'll get that for you. And then you save it. And then as soon as it's full, I'll drive you up to the bank, which is
That's
cool.
cool. Yeah.
So, like, I think that has stuck with me. If you go up in my closet, in our closet right now, there's a bottle, a big thing of
The kids
change.
know it's there, and the kids would go into it and take money out of it.
Yeah.
Just like my parents had one in the front hall closet, and I used to go in there and take money out too, quarters.
Yeah.
And I would do it for, like I was telling you the other day, I was drinking Diet Dr. Pepper, and I was telling you, do you remember Mr. Pibb? And I loved Mr. Pibb, and it was like Mr. Pibb versus Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
This is when I was a kid running track, and I used to take money out of that jar. So I'd steal money from that huge plastic jar in my parents' front hall closet, and I'd get money out of there because I think it was 50 cents. 25 or 50 cents after track. I'd run into the high school where track practice was at and pray that the janitor had not locked the doors over by where the burnouts hung out. Do you guys remember the burnouts? I'm dating myself. This was the smoking section of the local high school. And it was a smoking section. It was disgusting because the cigarette butts everywhere. I mean, I don't know why the janitors didn't clean that stuff up, but they probably were like, forget about it. I'm not going to clean up these cigarette butts because there's going to be 100 here again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it was the smoking section. It was the closest door to the track. And I'd run there to those doors, pray the janitor had not locked the doors because inside those doors was a Coke machine. And they had Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pibb. And after a hard track practice, I mean, I'm like 9, 10, 11 years old. I'd take that money that I stole from my parents' plastic jar and I'd put it in the Coke machine and get my Mr. Pibb and I would down 3/4 of it. And it was the best feeling, that cold, sugary flavor going down my throat after an hour run of track practice.
Stolen product.
And I'd go by myself and I'd run back to the track to where somebody, my older brothers or sister, would be picking us up from practice. And I wouldn't share it with my sister Maria. I wouldn't get her a pop or Coke or whatever it would die. We could say, see, in Maryland, in the East Coast, Coke meant everything growing up.
Yeah.
Coke
wasn't a product.
Coke was orange,
Drink, yeah.
Crush. It was Dr. Pepper, was everything. So I was such a brat. I wouldn't share it with her. I'd down it before I got back to the car because I didn't want to share it with anybody. The AG1 you've heard me talking about for so long just went through a major upgrade. AG1's Next Gen is here. So what is Next Gen? It is a daily health drink clinically shown to support gut health and close common nutrient gaps, even in the healthiest of eaters. With 5 new probiotic strains and additional vitamins and minerals, AG1 Next Gen represents the biggest step forward for daily foundational nutrition. 1 scoop in the morning with 8 to 12 ounces of cold water adds up to whole body health from vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food sourced ingredients. AG1's Next Gen is now one of the most clinically backed greens powders. Can you believe it? They went above and beyond the industry standard in testing and have made a great product even better. AG1, it's been a game changer for me for my mornings. It sets the tone for my day, helps me feel my best, and I genuinely look forward to drinking it in the morning. Now clinically backed with an advanced formula, this is a perfect time to try AG1 if you haven't already. I've been drinking AG1 for more than 5 years now, and I'm so happy that I am partnering with them. So subscribe today to get the Next Gen of AG1. If you use my link, you're also going to get a free bottle of AG D3K2, an AG1 welcome kit, and 5 of the upgraded AG1 travel packs with your first order. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/Anna to get started with AG1's Next Gen and notice the benefits for yourself. That's drinkag1.com/Anna. Anyways, how do we get on the topic of...
Side note, we're talking about savings.
Oh, we're talking about our parents having plastic, those, yeah.
But so all that to say, I think for me, I still save, and not in a secretive way, because you and I know I have an account. You have access to it. You never go there. You have another savings account. A lot of stuff's online for us. We just save money. You'll send money to this account, and I'll send money to that account. It's not like we don't care or don't know about it. It's just that it's there.
Well, I think we have trust.
Yeah, we both know that. But I still do it. Like, all these years have gone by, and I still save money in an account that's not necessarily front and center.
Money is not loaded for me the way it was in the past. Yeah. Money is not about anything other than money and saving for retirement now, right. Saving for travel. Back then, money was about something different. And I had money issues, big money issues. And I think, and I can't speak for him, I think my first husband probably did too. We were young and we did not figure that out together, which I have regrets about that. And owning my own stuff in that, I have regrets about the way that went down because I was immature and I wanted what I wanted and I didn't work on what I needed to work on. So I do have regrets about that,
And I
right?
think that might explain your statistic of like Gen Z.
And I think it's even worse today for Gen Z because we've been talking about. I think that Gen Z, everything is so available and it's always flashing lights in their faces like, buy this, you
Well,
need
but it's
this.
also available for us. I think it's
Yeah.
for them, it's because it's new. You're just getting into a relationship. You didn't have to answer to anything but yourself. And now all of a sudden you've got a partner, and it's like they're just as invested as your life as you are and your life together. And you're not used to that yet. You've not talked about that openly, or you haven't even considered it yet, right? And that's where you get into trouble.
Because we didn't learn how to have these conversations. You have said to me many times, your parents didn't talk to you about money really. That was when you were a child, but you knew nothing about investing. We've talked about you like, I don't know. I don't know. I had to teach myself because your parents did not talk to you about how to invest money at all, right? That was when you were 6, 7, 8 years old. I'm talking about when you're 16,
Yeah.
17,
Well, there
18.
was still a little bit of a constant reminder of you should do this. It's a smart move to do this, right? But it wasn't like, do it this way. It wasn't like we got into the weeds about strategy, a good way to go about it. It was just make sure you do it because it's important for down the road.
I had coffee on this week with a friend of mine that I met through a BNI group that I used to be in. He's a financial advisor. And I didn't tell you this, and it's so interesting. It's very appropriate to talk about it now. And he was telling me what he has going on. He's a financial advisor and he teaches, I think, one day a week at a University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and he teaches his finance class. He is this summer. So if you live in Chicago and you have a high school kid, this might be something for you to get your kid in. He is running like a summer camp for high school kids to teach them about finances and about the stock market. And I was like telling him like, what? That is a genius idea. I wish somebody would have taught me all this when I was in high school. I wish that at 15, 16, 17, 18, I knew these things.
Sure.
Our parents didn't teach us this and we didn't learn.
Yeah.
Other than maybe reading books. And in college, I started to learn a little bit. We followed up with an email and I said to him, hey, would you be willing to do this for college age kids? Because I've got clients who are college age. They would love this. So I'm waiting to hear back from him because I said, listen, I will completely help. I'm promoting it anyway. And I didn't realize I was promoting it today on the podcast, but it's that important.
Sure.
And I said, I will promote it. I will actually give me a flyer. I'll give it to my college kids and adults too, because we need to learn more about the basics of the stock market, how to invest your money. What's a Roth IRA? What's an IRA? And yes, there's podcasts out there, but I think there's something too, sometimes meeting live and in person.
And talking to somebody who's actually done it and you can verify that because they're standing right in front of you versus like, who knows who you're listening to.
He knows his stuff. And he was telling me these kids is like, they're so interested. But what he said to me is, Anna, it's so interesting. This is a finance class, but they come up to me after and they talk to me as a professor after, and they end up inevitably talking about their lives. Money goes into conversations around their relationships, their mental health. And that's what he said. He wants me to come up and talk to them in the next semester about something about mental health and coaching. He's like, I need you to coach them up. Happy to do it because that's a need. It's so interesting. Money and mental health and our emotional lives, it's all intertwined.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get back. So why do we do these things? Fear of judgment. You're going to think that I'm totally irresponsible. You're going to think I'm a loser. Desire for autonomy. We have the sense of autonomy that we're not verbalizing. So we keep secret accounts. And why we're not verbalizing it, there's all kinds of reasons why we don't verbalize it. That's something that you all, in listening to this, I urge you to unpack. And the third reason is conflict avoidance. So money is the number one couple fight trigger. Money. So we don't want to get into a fight. We're tired. We're exhausted. It's a total emotional drain on me. So I'm just going to avoid the conversation. I'm going to keep it all nice. We're going to tamp down those difficult feelings and we're just going to continue on until it grows and grows and grows and it becomes a monster and blows up in the room. And here's the psychophysiology about finances and debt and lack of communication. Secrecy keeps the amygdala part of your brain on alert. All right. That's chronic high cortisol. All right. So when you keep something like this in secret or any kind of secret in your life, your amygdala, which is your fight, flight, fawn part of your brain, it's always on alert. High cortisol, high stress all the time. Be on alert. Chronic stress. That's a hard way to live. We all know what it's like to be I think today, under chronic stress. That's why we have courses, classes, podcast episodes. People go to therapists. People get coaching around stress management. We struggle with how to manage our stress. A big piece of that is money. There's a preliminary study also out of BYU, Brigham Young University. It has not been peer reviewed yet, so we're waiting for that. But the data that's out from them right now is that divorces double within 18 months of finding out about a financial secret. That's exactly why I think people are not talking about it, and they keep the secret that grows bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like a weed that just grows and gets bigger, and the weed underneath the earth just is like develops fingers and just gets wider, longer, and deeper into the earth. It's the same thing with money secrets. Divorce odds double within 18 months of keeping a secret, and the secret being found out. Here we go. Here's our quiet money regrets. Here's the research. 77% of U.S. adults have at least one financial regret. 77% of U.S. adults have at least one financial regret.
In your life.
22% of people say not saving for retirement early is their number one regret. It's the top regret of the last 6 out of the 7 years. Not saving for early retirement. And I have a regret. What's one of mine. That's mine too.
Well, I think everybody probably has that regret in some level. Not saving at all, not saving enough. In your 20s, the last thing in the world you're thinking about is that. It should probably be at top of your list or darn close to start it in your 20s. You imagine?
We have the kids doing it because of our own regrets.
Yes.
We're trying to pay it forward with our kids and teach them something different. Okay, 69% of Americans hold a 2024 money regret. 69% of Americans, 89% of Gen Zers have a money regret. Studies from 2024, last year. Huge, 89%.
What the regrets are, put it into any type of categories. That would be interesting.
I didn't look into that.
Yeah,
I didn't dial down on that. Okay, so here's the pattern. So short-term pattern is what I've talked about, overspending and impulse buys. That's a big one. The long-term pattern is inaction outranks action. I alluded to that earlier in the episode. Taking inaction in your life versus actions, missed investing, late saving. That's you and me. Long-term pattern. Emotional toll, rumination, obsessing about what we didn't do, shame, decision paralysis. So we call it paralysis analysis. Shame. What is wrong with me? Why didn't I do this earlier? You're such a loser. You suck. All the things we say to ourselves about why we didn't do these things earlier. That's rumination. Yeah. It's almost like we just can't get out of it. Rumination is thinking. Obsession thoughts are rumination 3.0, where you feel like you can't even control your thoughts about it. They're so bad, so negative, and they've taken over your head.
And some of that is paralyzing because you don't get a redo. Right? You can't go in a time machine and go back and fix it. It's too late for that. Come up with something else, figure out what to do now. But for that, it's over.
We think that there's something wrong with us. We have this shame, and we don't talk about money with our friends. We don't talk about money even with our family members that we're close to. We just, for some reason, we keep money on the inside. Yeah. We almost feel like it's the part of us that needs to remain independent and autonomous. And if I do talk about it, you're going to think I'm a loser, or like, what's wrong with you? You're a 35-year-old grown adult. You're a 28-year-old grown adult. Why don't you know this? Why didn't you do differently? That's what we think others would say to us, when that actually is not the case. People are not going to throw daggers at you and say those mean things to you that you're saying to yourself. We say them to ourselves. Others don't think that way with us. And if anything, people are like, well, I've been there too. Yeah. No, I've done that.
I think it's more that. I think people will be very relatable. No one.
Really, nobody's going to rip on you. No one's going to do that. Yeah. I have to say.
Everybody has some version of this story that they can talk about.
And having these secrets that we keep inside ourselves, and then having these regrets in our lives, that's a power drain. That's a power drain on our psyche. It's a power drain on our mental, emotional, psychological life. When we have trust issues in our relationships with our partners, that leads to higher breakup rates, like I said earlier. So let's go back to you being in a relationship. When we are sneaking behind the other person's back, we're buying things, we have these secret credit cards, we're making a huge purchase, and we're not telling the other person about it. That's just eroding trust between two people. There are some relationships that cannot come back from that. The cognitive load of the power drain, the cognitive load, like I just said, of carrying that around in our minds. Studies show guilt occupies working memory and lowers decision quality. I'm going to repeat that. Studies show that the guilt we feel, it occupies our working memory and it lowers decision quality. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That's what cognitive load does. I think we don't realize the power of our brains and what's going on in our minds at all times. There's a conscious, there's a subconscious, there's the unconscious. The conscious is like 7% of what we're aware of. The sub is like, let's say 13%. The subconscious is, you have to spend some time thinking about it, but you can recall a memory. Not always reliable, but you can remember a dream. You can remember a memory when your sister says, do you remember when we were 15 and, we got in that car accident and you hit that car, that stop sign? Oh, yeah, I do remember that. That's subconscious. And that the unconscious is like 85% of our minds. We can't access it. The only way you can access it is through hypnosis or in your dreams sometimes. And you don't even always remember your dreams, right? You just remember the dreams that you had right before you woke up in the morning. So think about what is going on in our unconscious mind about the actions we took or the inactions of our thoughts and our feelings about money. Right. It's powerful. It's big.
Those things happened, and it's just because you can't remember it.
Doesn't mean it's not in there.
Yeah, and they had an influence on you in some capacity back in the day. And maybe there was something that fell out from that again, and then something that fell out from that again. And then here we are 40 years later.
Yes.
But it's all of those things that happened a long, long time ago that had that initial, it's like dominoes.
Domino effect. And so I talked about the mental aspect, the emotional fallout, the psychological fallout, and here comes the health hit. So chronic money rumination correlates with higher blood pressure and decreased sleep efficiency. Well, that would make sense. The sleep efficiency going down, poor sleep, that makes sense. But this is a health hit to your body working well. Increased blood pressure, not a good thing. So I'm going to give you the framework now. It's the Safer Money Framework. Quick framework for all of you. If you want to move out of this, here are your action steps. Here's what you're going to do. So it's SAFER, SAFER. And if you need to come back to listen to this, come back, get a pen and paper and write this down. I actually may put this in the show notes so that you all have this. So S is surface. So I want you to get that secret. I want you to get it out. No more shame. Shame lives in the dark. We're not doing that anymore. We're bringing it to the light and we are going to surface the issue. We're going to surface the secret, and that's getting the secret or your regret and writing it down on paper. So I want you to write down the issues. What is the problem? What is it that you've been ashamed about with money? What is it that you have regrets about? Write it out. No more shame around this. Okay. You can have some guilt. Guilt is not shame. Guilt is much lighter than shame. Shame is dark and it lives in a deep place inside of you where you're talking terrible things to yourself. No more of that. Okay. You don't deserve it. Don't do that to yourself. So surface the issue. Okay.
And it sounds like you might have to dig to find that.
Some people don't have to dig. Some people have real easy shame and they know what it is. Yeah. Some people may have to dig a little further, but with shame, it's usually right there. It's this deep, dark space. You don't talk to anybody about. I want you to get it out. Next one is the A in the SAFER, which is assess the impact. I want you to quantify the emotional toll it has taken on you. And I want you to quantify the dollar cost to you. What has it cost you in money that you have spent? I was going to say wasted, but that can feel a little judgy. But I would say that to myself, like the money that I have wasted. Write it down. Dollars lost. I want you to write it down. Okay. You're doing this with yourself and write about what it costs you emotionally. Next, the F in SAFER is I want you to face accountability. Okay. Time for accountability. I want you to own this without self-flagellation. So like what I just said right there, like what you did wrong, move into a place of a non-judgmental attitude and thinking around yourself. Let's not do the self-flagellation. Don't do that. it just hurts you.
Yeah.
Nobody else is hurting you or going after you in the way that you're going after you. This is cognitive therapy here. This is something that I have clients do all the time. So I want you to use a sentence that's full of self-compassion, like so many people hide adult purchases. I'm choosing honesty now. So many people do the same things that I do. Doesn't make it right, but I'm not alone. And I'm choosing honesty now. Just right. I'm choosing honesty now. That's your accountability piece where you're calling yourself out, you're owning it, and you're facing accountability over the things that you have done and the things you have regret about. All right. Then the E of safer is I want you to move into, I want you starting to engage in disclosure and repair. So if you need to talk to your spouse, your partner about what you've done, this is your time you're going to do it. Maybe before you tell your spouse or your partner, you get an accountability buddy. That could be your coach. That could be your therapist. That could be your best friend. That could be, if you have a family member who can remain objective, you tell that family member. And then you're going to tell them first, and then you're going to go and tell your partner. I have to tell you something. I hid $1,200 in debt from you. We've got $1,200 in debt. I hid it from you. And I didn't tell you because I was so afraid of your disappointment in me, that you would think differently of me, that you would lose respect for me. That's what I was afraid of. And that's why I haven't told you. But here's my plan. Here's my payoff plan. Okay. So you're going to come out with what you've done. You're going to say why you did it, what your fear was, what your insecurity was. And then number 3, you must have a plan for repair. You're going to tell them what you've done. You're calling yourself out. You're holding yourself responsible. You're taking accountability. But before you do that, I want you to have a repair in place. I want you to have a plan in place. I'm going to pay it off $100 a month. I got this. I'm taking care of it. Now, if you want to hold me accountable, if you feel safe with them, hopefully you do with your spouse. Remind me every month, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That's how you're now taking action on changing that part of your life. It will rebuild trust.
Could this also be a scenario where you made a bad financial decision? You're talking about one where it's like you made the decision and there was no knowledge of it. Maybe you made a bad decision, like a bad investment, and it went south. And you know it, but you haven't shared that fail.
You got to share that.
That could be another scenario.
Yes, absolutely. Well. Another really good one. Yeah. So time for honesty, time for transparency. Anytime you're keeping something like this in secret from your partner, that is a red flag for you. Not a yellow flag, a red flag. Anytime you're keeping the secret, I want your red flag to start going up in your mind that ding, 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 something's off here. Why are you keeping it a secret? What is that about for you? And for some of you, you need to go deeper with what is that about for your relationship, for your marriage, for your partnership? Why are you keeping this a secret? That's the question you need to answer for yourself. And then the R of that is, okay, so you told the person what you did. I told you, Tim, hey, I opened up a credit card and I put $3,000 on it because I want to take this trip and you don't know about it yet. And I'm doing it.
Right.
And you're going to come too, but that's where the money is. This is what I want to do. I'm not really sure yet, but I saw this great deal. If I get this reserve platinum card, I got 70,000 miles for us, air miles. And now I got to pay it on. Like, that is a rabbit hole. And that's something that I could see that people do because you just get lured in by if you're a travel person, the air miles, and you get to go to the clubs in the United Club, the American Airlines, the United Arab Emirates Club, because we got a long layover. You don't know this yet, but we're going to the Philippines sort of thing. Like, what? We don't have the money. Okay. So you start by saying, this is what I've done. And this is what I'm going to start to do. So we're not taking that trip because we cannot afford that. So your job, if you're the recipient of this, is not to flip out and go after your partner. They have told you, they've owned it. They're taking responsibility. Don't go after them. You may feel like it, but don't go after them. They're telling you something that they have done. It's a big mea culpa. And you may think, well, we're not taking that trip. Okay, but don't say it right then. Think it. And they're telling you what they're going to do. What's your plan to pay that off? And hopefully, if you're the one who's doing this, you're doing what I'm telling you to do right now, and you've got a plan in place. Yeah. Okay. And then the R part of the safer framework is you're rerouting your habits, and it's full transparency now. So you're going to build that trust with your partner, with your spouse, by starting to rebuild trust via transparency. So you're transparent. The rituals, you're going to go through all the things that you've been doing to stop yourself so that you don't go into relapse. because you could relapse. This is the thing, because it can get addictive. It's like you could relapse with your porn watching. You can get relapse with money. You can relapse with the shopping. You can relapse with with the gambling. You can relapse with all the things. So it's full transparency. This is what I'm doing. This is the plan. Please hold me accountable. Okay. So maybe you get together, you have a monthly money huddle where monthly you sit down and you go over all the finances. Okay. And you, the person who has taken out the accounts, you're open about it. And this is what I've done. This is what's left on that. And I got $3,000 left. I've got 1,200 left that I still have to pay off. Yes, but I've been paying it every month. Okay. You're sharing your budgeting app with each other. You're sharing everything. Okay. It's all out in the open. All right. So that's how you start to do this. This is the safer framework. Okay. You're surfacing your shame. You're getting it out in the open. No more shame on this. You're writing down, you're assessing the impact. You're quantifying the emotional toll that's taken, the financial toll that is taken. You're facing your accountability. You're owning it. You're owning it without ripping on yourself, without the self-flagellation. You're writing down a self-compassion script. I'm not alone. There's others who go through this. I got this. I'm choosing honesty now. E is I want you to engage in disclosure and repair. That's where you're telling your partner what you have done. I did this and I didn't tell you because I was afraid. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. And here's my plan. So come up with a plan before you talk to them. And then you're rerouting your habits. And that's that monthly money huddle where can we get together now every month? Maybe it's every week. Maybe it's every 2 weeks. Then we go to every month and we're talking about our financial situation. You're rebuilding trust in the relationship, the marriage, the partnership.
It sounds like there's like this big focus, which seems logical, but like coming out the backside of this in a better place on many fronts, right? Many fronts.
Well, and just your whole relationship and the good stuff you get when you've done that work together. And it's like, wow, they really have made changes in this way in their life. And you're just building trust back and trust in so many other arenas in your life where you're trusting each other with other parts of your life that normally maybe you wouldn't share, of a relationship or a discussion you've had or your deeper feelings about something that happened at work or something with the kids. And that's where you're developing that emotional, psychological intimacy with each other. There's a ripple effect of what it can do to the intimacy in your relationships. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with some questions for you that I want you to think about as a listener if you're watching this on YouTube. Number one, what's one purchase you'd be embarrassed to explain line by line to your partner? Good one, huh? What's one purchase that you've made that you'd be embarrassed to explain line by line to your partner? Is there anything? Number two, if you could time travel $100 back a month for the last 5 years, where would you put it? If you could time travel $100 back a month for the last 5 years, where would you put that money? I think I did the math. It's $6,000.
Well, it's 6,000 vested, but
no, what would you do with that $6,000?
Exactly.
Right.
Potential payoff of that question is massive.
Here's your call to action. Secrets thrive in silence. Regret thrives in avoidance. So I want you to take everything and put it into the daylight. No more living in darkness. Use this safer money steps, which I've just given you, and watch your financial agency return. I'm telling you, it is going to return. You can do this. So in the show notes, I think I'm going to put it in there. I haven't done the show notes yet. We're going to put it in there. I'm going to give you these hidden receipts audit. It's going to be in there. So when you're done listening, if you're on your podcast app, Spotify, wherever you listen to, it's going to be in there. Okay. And these are the 5 questions that are going to save your relationship or help to heal your relationship. There you go. So no more shame. No more secrecy, no more regrets. Every single one of us has done something that we do have regrets about, okay? Own it, acknowledge it, move on. Time to go into the future. Let's make changes. You all can do this, all right? You're not alone. This is such a common problem that I've been listening to for years in my office. And I'm telling you, it is almost like it's worse than sexual infidelity or cheating in a relationship. Money is big. You're not alone. You can do this. Time to take action.
That's good stuff.
Okay. All right, everyone, you got this. All right. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review with 5 stars a podcast. We'll see you next time. We're continuing with the series of the things that we don't talk about. We're going to talk about them, and we're getting down and dirty. We're going into some even darker places, everyone. So stay tuned. It's going to be like a soap opera now.
Okay.
All right. Take care, everyone.